No one is illegal on stolen land.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. Either give the land back or shut the up. If we're going to do acknowledgments, shouldn't we acknowledge that that was kind of up? Did you know that well before 1619, Indians practiced slavery here in America? And the Apache, Iroquois, and Sioux all tried to wipe out their fellow tribes. I know it's comforting to think that there was this ethereal time and place before white guys in suits, when everyone was a gentle, nature-loving child poet who split their time between riding deer and drinking dew.
Since Billie Eilish sparked the fire herself, there will inevitably be retaliation. Guess who rushed in to defend Ice and Trump after the award-winning music star made fun of them? Maher, Bill. Billie Eilish's double standards were scathingly and hilariously taken down by the host of Real Time with Bill Maher. So, hit the subscribe button and let's get started if you're in the mood for some hot political commentary.
A memo to Democrats: if you ever want to win an election again, the absolute most important first step is stop doing this.
We gather in celebration of the Oscars on the ancestral lands of the Tongva, Tataviam, and Chumash peoples, the traditional caretakers of this water and land.
Yeah, I don't know if we're still saying cringe. But if we are, that's this. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Either give the land back or shut the fuck up. Look, I understand the desire to right the wrongs of the past, especially when you get to take the moral high ground and then build an 8,000 square foot mansion on it.
Bill Maher has never held back on celebrities using award shows as political platforms. After Billie Eilish said, "Nobody is illegal on stolen land," Maher challenged her on Real Time with Bill Maher, arguing that action, not applause, is what matters if she truly believes the land is stolen. Interestingly, her multi-million-dollar Los Angeles home sits on Tanva land, and when a journalist asked if she would return it, her response made headlines.
Please, Billie, we are here because this is stolen land, Billie, and we think we should be given access to your quite lovely $3 million.
The reporter was obviously denied entry. All of a sudden, walls, gates, and rigorous seclusion were allowed by the same worldview that denies borders. Billie Eilish's belief in boundaries is evident when it comes to safeguarding her comfort. The rhetoric, however, conveys a different message in public. And Bill Maher has been pounding home that paradox. Why not return the land or depart if it is actually stolen? His argument is straightforward. He contends that a lot of celebrities put fanfare over consistency, making morally sounding claims without actually doing anything to support them.
I'm sure Julianne Hough is sincere about her love for the Chumash people, but I doubt she drives to work in a canoe, scavenges for acorns, or lives in a dome house made of reeds and dried mud. That's Woody Harrelson.
Bill Maher has also criticized public leaders and celebrities who treat land acknowledgements as a ritual, calling it hypocritical. Many express support for Native Americans in speeches, but few take real action. Few give up property, privilege, or make personal sacrifices. During Joe Biden's presidency, such statements became so common they seemed rehearsed. Yet Maher asks, what concrete action followed? Often, it was just headlines, applause, and moral posturing, with no land transfers or meaningful change.
Thank the tribe for Hollywood. Start with the Jews. Now, a few weeks ago in New Zealand, a modern, educated, technologically advanced country, they passed a law making a mountain a person. True, because their indigenous people, the Maori, believe that mountains and rivers are their ancestors, and so the mountain has been legally recognized to have all the rights of a human being. It has all the responsibilities, liabilities, duties, and powers of a human being, which, if you follow that to its logical conclusion, means the mountain can get a driver's license, vote, or adopt a rescue dog, and you should see its dating profile.
Bill Maher takes the discussion further by citing a New Zealand law that gives mountains and rivers legal personhood, using it to highlight the extremes of symbolic land acknowledgements. In Maori culture, mountains are revered as ancestors, But Maher argues that turning geography into legal persons shows how symbolism often replaces real action. He asks, if a mountain can be a person, what issues are truly being solved? Are people actually benefiting? Or is this just performative virtue? His point underscores the gap between moral posturing and meaningful change.
Over this idea that ancient people weren't just as full of shit, in fact, more full of shit than humans today. It's so simplistic, this idea of guilt by civilization, that being ancient and indigenous and not us was always better than us. It wasn't. The Maori in pre-colonial times were like most indigenous people, quite warlike, frequently fighting other tribes, with the winners enslaving the losers and even eating them. Yeah, have the mountain tell you that story next time you get it drunk.
Bill Maher pushes the conversation further by challenging the idealized view of ancient societies that some celebrities seem to admire. He argues that people in the past weren't morally superior. They acted within the limits of their knowledge and systems. Today, with advanced moral and legal frameworks, Maher contends that selective nostalgia and performative virtue are misguided. True moral seriousness requires consistency and real action, not just emotionally compelling stories on stage.
He's loved to harp on how the 1950s was backward, and 1950s was backward, as every past era was, but somehow they see indigenous life in the 1550s as the pinnacle of enlightenment. Besides being ignorant, it's hypocritical because, the ancient lifestyle is available to you. You could live outside and forage for food and wash your clothes in a pond. We have that today. It's called being homeless, and it sucks.
Bill Maher repeatedly makes the point that if you truly believe you're living on stolen land, speeches aren't enough. You should return it. He criticizes celebrities like Billie Eilish who live in luxury on such property while using moral rhetoric, arguing that belief without sacrifice is just a show. Maher emphasizes consistency, praising simpler times is easy in theory, but true conviction is shown by giving up modern privileges, security, and wealth, not just words.
Harmony with nature. Yeah, they had to because no one had invented the toilet yet. The march of civilization has been bloody and painful, but we generally got to a better place, not a worse one. And not just technologically, but how we treat each other. Did you ever see the movie Apocalypto? Where the peaceful, enlightened Mayans built a big ziggurat so they could literally make heads roll in order to appease the gods and make it rain. Yeah, you don't see that on the Land O'Lakes box.
In the end, Bill Maher boils his argument down to one point. Civilization is a story of constant change and advancement. Humans have always moved, settled, and rebuilt on land once inhabited by others. Maher argues that judging people today for historical events ignores this reality. Progress, he contends, is about building something better now, not carrying guilt for the past.
Going to do acknowledgements, shouldn't we acknowledge that was kind of fucked up? Did you know that well before 1619, Indians practiced slavery here in America? And the Apache, Iroquois, and Sioux all tried to wipe out their fellow tribes. I know it's comforting to think that there was this ethereal time and place before white guys in suits, when everyone was a gentle, nature-loving child poet who split their time between riding deer and drinking dew.
Bill Maher argues that history is far more complex than the simplified narratives often told today. Indigenous tribes, like all societies, fought over land, resources, and survival long before modern nations existed. Land was constantly contested, defended, and taken, a pattern repeated across every continent. Maher emphasizes that understanding history requires seeing its full complexity, rather than reducing it to heroes and villains to fit modern moral narratives.
It's not true. What the European invaders did to the Indians, not good, but also not unusual. American Indians waged wars constantly, like Blake Lively. And the Comanche were polygamists whose leaders could bear children with a dozen women, like Elon Musk.
Bill Maher argues that history is never just oppressors and victims. He criticizes celebrities and politicians who treat land acknowledgements as if ownership were always clear and morally simple. Ancient societies weren't morally perfect. They fought, defended, and seized land like civilizations throughout history. Maher asks, if property constantly changed hands long before modern nations, who truly owns it? He warns that symbolic gestures often oversimplify history, replacing real understanding with words that sound strong but don't address the deeper issues.
Horseshit isn't any better than its modern version. That's all I'm saying. Today in America, we have something called corporate personhood, which has gone a long way to corrupting our elections. But that's what we go by, that corporations are people. They're not, and neither are mountains.
Bill Maher emphasizes honesty, consistency, and perspective, criticizing celebrities like Billie Eilish for highlighting stolen land without taking meaningful action. He argues that true conviction requires personal sacrifice, not just speeches or applause. History is messy. People in the past battled, conquered, and reclaimed territory. But modern civilization offers knowledge, institutions, and moral frameworks to act responsibly. Maher contends that symbolic gestures like land acknowledgements are emotionally satisfying but don't solve real problems. True moral responsibility comes when words are matched by actions.